Hi, I'm Steve. I volunteered with VSO between 1973 and 75 as a maths and science teacher in St John's, Antigua. When I returned to the UK to train as a chartered accountant, I also became a member of VSO Council, which I held for some 4 years before I went overseas to work again.
Hi, my name is Taj, and I volunteered with VSO ICS in 2014 in Kenya, where I worked on youth empowerment and sustainable livelihood projects. And I now work for a children's disability charity in London, and I also sit as youth advisor to VSO International Board of Trustees.
I was 2 years as a teacher, and then I became the assistant field officer for the Caribbean. And what I was doing was changing a program that had been based primarily on teaching posts to one that involved a range of other posts that were more relevant to the local economy. Job creation and making sure that the program itself was changing to meet the conditions in the Caribbean. Tell me about what it was like as a volunteer.
So I was working with the Red Cross, and my role was to take part in blood donations and trying to change the stigma around that, and encouraging people to actually give blood. And we also did a lot of things with the community on environmental sustainability, so doing environmental cleanup days, women empowerment sort of community days, drug abuse. So yeah, that's mostly what I did over the 12 weeks. And how did it feel to be, you said, the first volunteer on the board, so you were really bringing that experience from the ground?
I suppose looking back on it, it must have been daunting, but I don't remember that. I just remember sitting around, having papers, being asked for my views and giving them freely. As I was the only person as a volunteer who'd been a volunteer, I suspect they gave me more time. At some point, probably about 2 years in, I was on it for 4 years, I was asked to join a small subgroup to select the next director of VSO, and we sat down, looked through the papers and decided who we were going to invite for interview. I can still remember the interview of the candidate whom we selected. He went on after VSO, where he was director for some 5 years, to become director of Oxfam. So there you go.
So you had quite a lot of influence back.
Well, I don't know. Tell me about the board, Matt, today.
So at the moment, the board, half of the members are ex-VSO volunteers, so they have that experience and are able to bring it into decision making. We also help to try and bring in that youth voice, and I think the age ranges of the board compared to when you were on the council is much broader as well. So it's interesting to see how much it's changed, but I guess some of the feelings that we would experience are quite similar, in that I still feel that daunting feeling that we're surrounded by our seniors, and trying to make sure that our voice kind of pushes through.
I think the important thing is, when you're on the board, you have to be able to feel you can fulfill a role without interfering with the staff, but you can find a way of expressing your enthusiasm for whatever the objectives are. Tell me a bit about the experience you're gaining from the board.
I currently work for a disability charity, and I've been working in international development for the last 4 years, but being on the board has really helped bring in a better understanding of governance, and what that means is really beneficial, because then I'm able to sort of apply that to my own work, which is a much smaller organisation, but again I can see that how much influence the board have and how I'm able to sort of influence them, and it's given me that confidence to speak out a bit more about certain issues such as diversity. I think it's not just developing me career-wise, but it's sort of the personal aspects that I'm getting from it, and that's what I'm really looking forward to taking after a year of doing this role. Given the 40 years that you've been volunteering and associated with VSO, what does it mean to you?
It was the first charity I was involved with. It got me out of this country into somewhere else to explore, to find myself. It was my first time really on my own. For that, I'm very grateful to VSO, and so I always have a warm spot for VSO.
I thought I knew what I wanted when I was going into it. I wanted to get some work experience and understand how development worked, but I really came out more sort of revived by how much young people could do. That's why I appreciate VSO, in that you can, there's always something that you could be doing.
Yeah, I'm delighted I did it. Really.